Welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about how to take some nice vintage style photographs using an old-fashioned Instax camera. Now, these cameras are actually really easy to operate since they only have one button and a little exposure ring on top. But just like any other type of photography, they come with their own nuances, and I'm going to show you how to take your photos from okay to much better and even fantastic looking. So let's get into that. So first up, here are the first two photos that I took with the Instax after digging it out. This one I took inside up against a blank wall, and this one I took outside. Now, using the exposure ring on the Instax, it'll tell you which one that you should set it to, and then you take the picture. Unfortunately, neither of these came out well, and part of that is because the smartdoll face actually lacks a lot of definition. It's very flat. But the other part of that is that you can see they're just overexposed on the parts that matter, being the face. So whether you were inside or outside, something wasn't working there. In my second round of photos, I chose to take them both outside, but as you can see, the faces now are very underexposed. They're very dark. Luckily in this photo, Kanata's face has more definition and you can see more features, where in this one you can't. However, they were still too dark for me to really be happy with. I really liked this one, but again, I wanted her to have a little bit more exposure and be a little bit more in the light. Something to consider in these is that in both of these, I was taking the picture with the flash covered. Now, in the first round, you remember that the face was just way too overexposed, and I noticed that no matter what I did to the exposure dial on the top of the camera, it still made them overexposed. So what I did was actually cover the flash, and that results in this kind of effect. Finally, here are two pictures that I took with the Instax of Kizuna, and as you can see, the face is nice and in detail, and it's not overexposed like our first set of images. Now let's go ahead and I'll show you exactly how you do that. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that the environment lighting we have is correct. Here we have Kanata posing for her next album release, and what we want to do is make sure that she's facing into the sun and not away from the sun. As an example of what that looks like, because I'm not outside, I will turn off the light that is most facing her to show what it looks like if she's facing away from the sun. This is an example of what it would look like if she's facing away from the primary light source or the sun if we're outside taking pictures. And then this illustrates what it looks like if her face is fully illuminated by the sun. Now that our subject has correct lighting, we'll move on to taking the actual picture. It's actually really easy to do. You turn it on, set the correct exposure rating, and even though I'm pointing at the ceiling right now, we'll want to make sure that when we set our ring, it's pointed at our subject. We'll set it to indoors for now. The most important step is to cover your flash, since we already have the sun as our light source, and then point it at your subject and take the picture. The only other thing I will add is that you want to make sure that there's about 8 to 10 inches at least from your camera to your subject. That way you get a good focus. If you're much closer than that, your subject may appear out of focus, and that's what happened here in addition to it being overexposed. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that this helps you take your photos from something like this to something like this that you can really be proud of. Go out there and get some cool vintage style photos of your dolls. We'll see you next time.